In this presentation, I will review servant and transformational leadership. To begin, the definition of servant leadership is a leader who desires to serve first and foremost. The main focus is on growth, meeting the needs of others, and the well-being of individuals and the community of which they belong to. In his book on becoming a servant leader, Greenleaf discusses that this type of leadership requires you to take a backseat and consider everyone else first. Your employees are not serving you, you are serving them. There are 10 characteristics one must master to be a great servant leader: listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment to growth of people, and building community. Out of these 10 characteristics, it's been argued that the most effective strategy to employ is listening, because it allows leaders to understand matters concerning how people think, feel, and grow, which can give leaders more of an opportunity to later serve them. One of the best recorded examples on earth of servant leadership was Jesus Christ. It's important to note that servant leadership does require difficult decisions as it revolves around people's needs, not their wants or desires, which you can find many examples of this from studying Jesus' life. Next, transformational leadership can be described as a leader who collaborates with teams to identify a specific change that's needed, come up with the vision to help guide this change, and then execute the change within the team. Essentially, you work together to make a needed change, which requires great organizational and managerial strengths. The end goal of transformational leadership is to assist their followers or teammates to later become leaders themselves. They're all about long-term self-development, change, and growth. Some key components good transformational leaders have are an idealized influence, an intellectual stimulation, motivational inspiration, and individual considerations. An idealized influence is to engage in high standards of ethical behavior. Followers identify with these leaders and then want to emulate them. This can also be referred to as having charisma. Pushes people to like you a little bit more and pushes people to be better. Intellectual stimulation means that they engage team members by challenging their ideas and assumptions, by taking risks, working together to develop innovative ideas to solve problems. This helps stimulate the brain and think critically with hopes of a shared goal and purpose in mind. For these types of leaders to do well, they need to motivate and inspire their followers or teams to perform at their absolute best and then challenge them along the way. They must set a foundation of encouragement and trust. Individualized considerations refers to the leader taking on the role of a mentor. They view each individual as an individual with strengths and weaknesses, and then they create opportunities for each person to then build off of these skills and improve them. When comparing and contrasting these two leadership styles, some similarities include that they both encourage others to think about their future and motivate them to meet their goals. They both focus on really getting to know those around them to better make effective decisions for the long run. Some major differences include servant leaders focus on their followers' well-being and meeting their needs, while transformational leaders tend to focus more on organizational goals. Servant leadership also focuses more on interpersonal acceptance, while transformational leadership inspires their followers to a higher performance for the sake of the organization and for the sake of oneself. When looking at educational leadership, and more specifically school counseling, some scenarios are great for servant leadership and some are really great for transformational leadership. When looking at servant leadership, it's important for school counselors to build relationships with staff, parents, and students in order to get to know them better so they can meet their highest priority needs and also build a community. When actually counseling students and staff one-on-one, it's important to listen, observe, and communicate with empathy in mind. Remember, listening can be very insightful to discovering people's needs. For transformational leadership, it would work well for STAR testing, 504 meetings and accommodations, and scheduling, because these responsibilities of a school counselor require working in teams, whether that be with other staff members, administration, or parents or students. You also have to adapt to change and must be primarily organized. They play an active role in long-term growth and personal development. Also, working with students who struggle with emotional or behavioral difficulties, for example, you can assist them in coming up with coping strategies for when these outbursts may arise. Working with the student, teachers, parents, or even sometimes other friends, you can develop a plan for handling their strong emotions or reactions to certain things. It's going to take a lot of practice and time, but it's going to help the student significantly in the long run so they can make a much needed change. In conclusion, here is my reference page of all of the articles I used for research for both of these two leadership styles. I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening to my presentation, and I hope you were able to learn a little something about servant and transformational leadership.